One of the things that I used to struggle with the most as a pro athlete, and what most of our pro athletes struggle with now, is being able to maintain their focus and concentration during competition. And you might find yourself in the same spot where you get in there, you feel like you know what you have to do, you feel like you know what has to get done, but you don't really stick to it, and then you end up getting distracted. Or maybe, like most, you even go in there without having good focus because you don't really know how, or maybe your focus isn't optimized. Now, if that's you, you don't have to worry, because in today's video, I'm going to give you the tips and skills that we use with our pro athletes to help them build, maintain, and utilize their focus and concentration in competition. I promise this will be the video that solves that problem for you. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Matt Calderoni, co-founder of Molliteum, where we're on a mission to help athletes discover and reach their true potential through resilience. And to date, since 2015, we've helped just over 5,300 high-performing athletes from the youth to professional level in leagues such as the NBA, NHL, MLS, and so much more. The reason we started this channel is simply because I used to be a pro athlete, my brother used to be an athlete, and we didn't really get this help that we needed. So we're gonna make sure to tackle the topics that you might be struggling on when it comes to your mental performance. Now, to help this channel grow, please like, subscribe, click the notification bell, share this episode. It really helps us bring more viewers in, which allows us to bring you more free content. Now, diving into focus, there's really three things we have to cover today. There's optimizing focus, there's knowing how to focus, and then there's maintaining that focus. Focus in general simply means just being able to give your attention to that one thing in front of you that moves the needle the most. And the problem with most athletes is, and if you think of yourself, they often come to us trying to focus when really there's like 10 different things you're trying to focus on. That really doesn't work, because what you end up doing is, and what focus is, you displace your energy, meaning that your energy, instead of going into one thing, goes into a bunch of different ones. And when you have your energy in a bunch of different things, you really don't accomplish what you want. Now, like I said, there's three things that most athletes struggle with when it comes to their focus. The first one is you got to understand how to optimize your focus, meaning that you have to learn how to optimize energy. Most athletes come into us saying they struggle with focus when really they're just lacking sleep or poorly nourished. That's what it is, right? So you need to understand how to optimize that. So the first thing is you can actually have your attention there and you have the energy to give attention. The second thing is you need to know how to focus. There's a certain way. It's not just spending all your time on one thing for 90 minutes. There's a way to break that up and to chunk that up so you can reset, so you consistently have a nice maintained focus. And the last part is you need to know what to focus on. If you don't know what to focus on, and you're like the majority of athletes, you're probably focusing right now on things you cannot control, and that's just causing you anxiety. So we got to get rid of that today. The first thing we start with whenever an athlete comes to us asking about how to focus better, we start with understanding what their sleep habits are like. When you go through it, sleep is one of the most important things that you need to start doing to optimize your energy. And if you optimize energy, that has a direct correlation or a direct connection to your ability to give attention to things. The thing is this, like you can see here, the research shows sleep does a lot when it comes to helping you consolidate your memory so that you can actually remember things better, like play calls and tactics, restoring your attention that gets depleted when you're awake, or reducing overall fatigue, which directly impacts your focus and attention, or it regulates neurotransmitters, or the chemicals in your brain that transmit signals between neurons, and finally, it improves your mood so that you have the patience to deal with tasks and go through the adversity. The problem is this though, most athletes don't have sleep. So here's what you need to do. Number one, you need to make sure that you have a set sleep and wake time where you're sleeping for at least 7 hours to 9 hours a night. Very simply put, that means if you're waking up at 7 a.m., you go to bed at 11 p.m. It's that simple. 8 hours right there. Secondly, do box breathing before you go to sleep. Going through this box breathing helps you reduce that anxiousness before bed. It helps you get out of your own head. The third thing is that we actually have our athletes journaling before bed, about 30 minutes right after that box breathing. That takes all the thoughts that you might be sitting there in bed worrying about after and puts them onto a piece of paper so that you literally empty your mind before bed. It's awesome. We call it clearing your mental cache. The fourth thing we do is actually have our athletes sit back and visualize on what they want for the next day. You can do this 20 minutes before you go to sleep. We've linked multiple different visualizations in past episodes that you can check out. And finally, we have them turn the lights off or get everything shut down 15 minutes before they actually want to fall asleep. Get off the phones, get off the blue light, shut the lights out. Please don't watch Netflix or whatever it might be right up until you go to sleep. Shut it all down so that you don't fatigue the eyes, and make sure that you have the best sleep possible. Next, you need to make sure that you're eating well. I can't tell you how many times athletes come to us with a focal issue when really they're not nourishing properly. A great example of this, we were working with a player in the NHL, and he came to us with these focal issues. He said he had mental fatigue, or he said it like, I feel like my mind is cloudy. And I was like, all right, so tell me about your sleep. He said, well, my sleep's good. I'm getting my 8 hours. I was like, okay. And then I said, tell me about what you're focusing on. Tell me how you focus. And he was doing all the things right. And then we got into the food portion. And I said, so tell me a bit about your diet. He goes, well, I actually just switched from a higher carb diet to almost a low to no carb diet. I was like, whoa. Hold on a second. First off, are you doing this with a nutritionist? He goes, no. That's a big red flag. I'll say this right now. If you're switching up your diet, make sure you do so with a nutritionist. Then I said, so are you eating any carbohydrates? He goes, pretty much none at all. I said, okay, so that's a big shift because your brain's preferred fuel source is glucose, which is found in carbohydrates. So once we were able to deep dive on this, and he actually went to a nutritionist and properly went through the right things he needed to add. He added in like a bowl of oatmeal. He started adding in sweet potatoes, and he was still able to keep his shape and his form because the big thing was body fat cutting for the team. He was able to focus much better. He said, Matt, the mental fog pretty much cleared itself within a day or two. He goes, I was right back in it. And within the next game, he was performing well. So if you're somebody who's changing up your diet all the time or whatever, I need you to make sure that you're eating the right amounts. And sometimes you could be eating not enough, especially if you're an athlete. I know this is a big thing where you undereat. You need to make sure that you're eating not just for your energy, but like the research shows here on the screen. You need to make sure you're eating well so that you can improve brain health and mental clarity. You need to make sure you're eating well so that you can improve focus and attention, that you're improving your cognitive function and improving energy production. All of this impacts your attention. And if you're not eating well, just like not sleeping well, you're not optimizing your focus. So once we get the foundation down of eating well and sleeping well, we can now get into what to start focusing on. And here at Molliteum, we say you need to focus on intentional action. So most athletes come to us where they're only focused on the end result. And the problem with that is, that's like me coming to you and being like, hey, you know what? You need to drop 25 points tonight. Super overwhelming, right? Or I could come to you and be like, hey, look, all I need you to do tonight, get to the line as much as you possibly can and shoot to score. There's a big difference, but the thing is this, both of them are focused on that end result of trying to increase your point total, right? Or 25 points or whatever it is. But one's telling you just go there and it's not really giving you a how, which your brain likes. The other is giving you a pathway to get there, which is saying, hey, get to the line and shoot to score. I can't tell you how many times we have solved an athlete's problem, a scoring drought, by simply saying you actually need to shoot to score instead of just shooting. That intention is important. So an intentional action, to keep it very simple, it's taking an action that drives results and putting an intention behind it. So for example, if you're an offensive player who wants to score more, maybe you need to make sure you're skating to the net and shooting to score. You see that? That's an action. Skate to the net, shoot to score. There's your intention. All I need you focused on are these intentional actions. I don't need you focused on the result. I need you to understand what result you want and break it down into the 1 to 2 actions that go into that. I'm telling you, I see this work seamlessly with every single athlete we work with, but you need to know what to focus on, and that's intentional actions. Next, you need to focus on what you want, not what you don't want. So oftentimes athletes will come to us and be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to make a mistake. And it's like, that's great. The problem is this, still not focusing on making that mistake, you're still focused on it. There was actually a study done on this that the great Simon Sinek talks about, where there were 2 groups of fighter pilots, and they said to this one group of fighter pilots, don't hit that target. And they ended up hitting that target the majority. Then he said on the other one, the next trial was, hey, just fly over there instead. And they seamlessly were able to miss that target by just flying over there. So you need to take the same approach. Focus on what you want, not what you don't. So if you're worried about making mistakes, you simply need to ask yourself, well, what do I need to do instead to not make that mistake? It's not, don't make a bad pass. Instead, your action will be intentionally pass to the guy in front of you. You need to take that thing that you don't want to happen and turn it into what you do want to happen instead. That's the only way to combat it. Where your focus goes, your energy flows, right? It's that simple. Make sure you're focused on what you want, not what you don't want. Now that you know what to focus on, you need to know how to focus. And the first thing you need to do, you need to take it 1 rep at a time. Your focus wants you to consistently reset it. You want small periods that you're able to lock into, give your best effort, and do it again. The best athletes in the world, Cristiano Ronaldo even, is quoted on saying, Cristiano Ronaldo only focuses on the one task in front of him. He does it well, then he moves on. That's exactly what your focus needs to be like. It has to be rep by rep. So what we do with our athletes and what all of our pros do, they focus on that intentional action. They go out on the ice, court, field, whatever it is. They go execute, then they reset and do it again. If they did well, they try to beat it on the next one. If they didn't do too well, they tweak it and they do it again. But the point is, we are playing a game within the game. The game within the game is simple. Focus on that 1 rep. This is why you see top athletes who are notoriously consistent. They're just focused on the one rep. They're not focused on the outcome. Next, when you make a mistake, you need to get right back to your laser focus or intentional actions. This is a very simple one, but a lot of people are like, oh my God, what do I do when I make a mistake? Mistakes break focus, right? What you need to do is this. First, you got to realize sports are 80-20. 80% of the time, they're going to go your way. 20% of the time, they won't. They're going to force you to adapt. As long as you do that 80% well, you're going to be okay. Most pro athletes are often making mistakes. They just know how to make those mistakes look natural by continuing forwards, right? They don't break. They don't throw their head back and get annoyed with themselves or freak out. They just keep moving forwards. You need to do the same thing. So when you do make a mistake, I just want you to reset and get back to that intentional action. You don't have to go make up for things. You don't have to do any of that. And if you are like most athletes worried about coach benching you, you need to realize coach will only bench you if they see you make the same mistake consistently. When you reset your focus, though, you're able to correct that. Or they will also sit you if they see that you are checking out because you're losing your mind. Stop that. You make a mistake, own it, adjust, don't do it again. It's very simple. Just get back to your intentional actions. And I'm telling you, this often solves a problem. You don't have to make up for things. Just get back to that intentional action. Next, you have to understand that you're only supposed to be focusing on what you can control. Most athletes are way too focused, like I said, on the uncontrollables, aka the results. And as a result of that, they get super anxious. They get freaked out, right? You can't control results, so what do? You worry about it. But here's the thing. Pressure is also broken down into two categories. There's internal pressure, there's external pressure. Internal pressure is the pressure you put on yourself. External pressure is the pressure that others put on you, like a coach or a teammate or a parent, whatever it might be. But here's the thing. Both pressures are bad if you're focused on things you cannot control. So you could be sitting there and saying, well, Matt, my pressure's internal, but you're focused way too much on trying to get a result. The same way that a coach could put that same pressure on you. So what you need to do is flip this into the things you can control. And there's only 3 things here that we say at Molliteum: your preparation, your attitude, and your work ethic. Anything uncontrollable can literally be turned into preparation, attitude, or work ethic. All you need to do is break it down. So if coach is putting the pressure on you to go score a goal, break it down into what you can control. Well, to prepare to score a goal, I need to make sure I'm getting to the net and shooting to score. I'm going to keep using that example, right? You don't need to worry about scoring. You just need to worry about putting yourself in the right area. If there's one thing that pro athletes understand, it's that you increase the chances to get the result. You don't guarantee the result. You can't. That's uncontrollable. You're playing a sport, right? So what you need to realize is this is a game of chances. Increase your chances, put the right prep in, and you can take anything uncontrollable and turn it into something controllable. Last but not least, you need to have a system in place to get focused. I think most athletes think that just all of a sudden by knowing these things, they're going to get focused, when really you need to have a system in place to lock yourself in. So here's the system that we use with our athletes that you can see here on the screen. It's very simple. Number 1, 20 minutes before you leave, go to a quiet place with a journal of some sort. Take your journal, go sit down, go alone. Don't go with teammates. Don't do this at the rink or the facility or whatever. Do this before you leave. You need to get yourself focused before you leave. Number 2, like you can see here, put a date on the page. Number 3, write if it's a game or practice. You're going to be doing this both for practices and games, not just for a game day. You want to focus in practices the same way you're focused in the game. It's the age-old adage, but it's absolutely true, right? Number 4, like you can see here, you need to start forecasting what you can expect. So what do I mean by this? You need to understand, like, okay, today's a practice. I'm probably going to get pushed hard. You need to understand that. Is it going to be tough? Is it going to be a little, challenging? Maybe you're going in and playing against a good team. The reason that we forecast is not to psych you out, but it's to get you focused on what to understand is about to happen. Most times athletes go into competition without any understanding of what's about to go down. And as a result of that, they kind of get what we say blinded by the lights, meaning that people are coming at you tough. They're coming at you hard. They're coming at you fast. As a result of that, you kind of get all in your own head, right? But if you prepare, and studies have shown this, that you understand you're going into a tough practice or a tough game, or maybe it's a lighter practice or whatever it might be, that actually has helped athletes maintain their focus better. So the first thing that you need to do, as soon as you date your page and understand if it's a practice or game, you need to forecast what's about to happen. 5th, you need to write down your desired results. So like I said, we're going to start by understanding, okay, so going into this tough game, here's what I want. I want to be able to produce offensively. Great. Then the final thing that you're going to do, like you can see here, is write it out into an intentional action. So see how this happened, right? We started with understanding the environment. We broke it down into the results we want. Now we're breaking it down into the intentional actions to get those results. So you don't have to worry about the results. This is how we literally break it down with our pros, where it's like, understand what you're going up against, Understand what result you want. Now break it down into the intentional actions to focus on all night long. And there you have it, our 8 tips that we use with our pro athletes to make sure that we're optimizing their focus, we're teaching them how to focus, and we're able to help them maintain their focus. That way they can increase their focus and concentration during competition and maintain that dominance throughout. So if you like this video, please like, subscribe, click the notification bell, share everything. It helps us grow this channel and bring you more free content. If you want to work with us, there's a link down below that you can apply to work with one of our coaches, or you can check out some of our online courses and our pocket coach that we have as well. And please make sure, subscribe to the newsletter. We have weekly updates that come out with things that actually help you as an athlete and help you grow your game and performance. And until next time, stay resilient. So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch a full podcast episode, click right here.